Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of our flagship stations, 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV, on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. You'll also find us in the Birmingham-Bloomfield area on Birmingham Area Municipal Access and on City Cable 15 of Southfield. Join us live every day on Channel 10 on Waterford, in Waterford on the Media Network of Waterford, and live to tape on Channel 10 in Orion Township and Lake Orion on Orion Neighborhood Television, or as the cool kids call it, ONTV. You can find us on the radio in the Birmingham, Bloomfield, and Troy areas on the Biff Radio Network, 88.1 WBFH, the Biff, a service of the Bloomfield Hills School District. Find us online in a number of different places on our Facebook pages at Civic Center TV 15 and at Lakes FM, on our website at civiccentertv.com, and beginning at 11 o'clock for the Mighigan Megacast on My Mighigan TV, otherwise known as MyMy, at mymytv.com, where you can also learn more about downloading their free MyMyTV apps for your smartphone and smart TVs. All that information is available on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you can find all of our programs on demand, as well as each individual interview as well. Then let's head over to our coronavirus page, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where we have links to the most up-to-date information on COVID-19 from reliable expert resources at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division, so that you can stay up to date on everything that you need to know about COVID-19, including the spread of COVID-19, precautionary tactics such as masking and social distancing, as well as vaccinations and booster shots. Also, on our coronavirus page, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, we feature articles from many journalistic outlets throughout the state of Michigan in order to keep you updated on COVID-19 and other stories making headlines here in the Great Lakes State. Our top story today from the Detroit News: if you're still waiting on your $400 auto insurance refund, here is some things that you should know so you can get your refund, or you have information knowing where your refund may be. This is, of course, from the Detroit News. Michigan drivers who have not yet received their $400 per vehicle insurance refund should hold tight about another month while insurers get those checks in the mail, state officials said. Insurers, which were transferred about $3 billion in early March to disperse funds, have until May 9th to complete the distribution of refunds to Michigan drivers, according to the state. The Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association transferred about $3 billion to insurers on March 7th, and insurance companies are required to distribute money via $400 refunds per vehicle through check or direct deposit. The distribution includes about 7.5 million policyholders. Insurers were asked to distribute the funds, quote, as soon as they can, but no later than May 9th, and closed quote, said Michigan Insurance and Financial Services Director Anita Fox. Quote, depending on the processes they have to put in place, it may take some insurers longer than others, Fox said, and closed quote. The Insurance Alliance of Michigan would not say how many of its members had distributed the refunds Thursday, but said the companies were quote, working diligently, and closed quote, to get the money out. Quote, the great news is that insured drivers don't have to lift a finger to receive their refund, said Aaron McDonough, Executive Director for the Insurance Alliance of Michigan. McDonough continued on saying, quote, if anyone tries to contact the driver asking for personal information related to their refund, it's a scam. Don't answer the call. Don't give them any information. Governor Whitmer called the MCCA to issue refund checks and distribute its $5 billion surplus in November. The association, which levies assessments to cover claims for people injured in catastrophic car crashes, found it could return about $3 billion in surplus to policyholders through individual refunds. The association's surplus grew from $2.4 billion in late 2020 to about $5 billion as of June 30th, in part due to the 2019 no-fault insurance reforms and higher than expected returns. The 2019 no-fault auto insurance reform has been under scrutiny for months because of provisions that took effect in July that made significant cuts to the fee a medical care provider could be reimbursed by insurance companies for providing care for individuals who were catastrophically injured. The cuts have led some medical providers to close their doors or stop taking auto accident survivors altogether, forcing some of those victims out of their homes and into facilities or hospitals. So who is eligible for the refund? The refund will be distributed by insurance companies to clients who had a car insured with the company as of October 31 of 2021. Most individuals, including those with motorcycles or recreational vehicles, will receive the $400 refund, while those with an insured historic vehicle will receive just $80. Individuals who were quote-unquote garaging vehicles as of October 31st without policies on the car will not receive a refund. Quote, "It only appears to those who are paying the premiums to drive their vehicles on Michigan roads," and closed quote, said Fox. How will the refund be sent? The money is expected to be distributed to drivers through either paper checks that will be mailed or direct deposits into their checking or savings accounts. What if the refund doesn't arrive? Check to make sure the refund wasn't direct deposited into your account. If not, individuals who do not receive their refund by May 9th should contact their insurance company or call the state at 833-ASK-DIFS. That's 833-ASK-DIFS for more information. Quote, "DIFS stands ready to answer questions or help resolve any concerns that Michiganders may have regarding their refunds," Fox said in a statement. So should I give out my personal information if called on this matter? Fox and the Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel have warned against giving out any personal information over the phone to callers who may purport or be processing a refund. She said there have been reports of scammers attempting to take advantage of those awaiting their refunds. Quote, people should never give out their personal information over the phone from an unsolicited call," Fox said in early March. That article on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, as well as this next headline from the Detroit Free Press. Sports fans, the Detroit Sports Commission will be celebrating the impending 2024 NFL Draft selection of Detroit with a party on April 14th. The Sports Commission is throwing a football-themed party on April 14th at Campus Marshall Park to celebrate Detroit being selected as the host of the 2024 NFL Draft. Beginning at 4:30 p.m., the community event will feature music by official Detroit Lions game day DJ Raya Dig, fun activities, food trucks, swag giveaways, and appearances by Lions legends, cheerleaders, and Detroit Lions mascot Rory. Charles Davis, an NFL on CBS analyst, will MC the event, which will feature the unveiling of a, quote, custom interactive display representing Detroit that will have a permanent home in the city where fans can gather to celebrate the historic announcement, and closed quote, according to a statement released by the Detroit Sports Commission. The 2024 NFL Draft is a 3-day event that will bring entertainment for local football fans and a number of out-of-town visitors to the area. Quote, "The NFL's decision to select Detroit as the host city for the 2024 NFL Draft is a huge win for our city and its residents and is a testament to the revitalization and synergy that is happening," closed quote, said Detroit Sports Commission Executive Dave Beechnow in a statement. Beechnow continued on by saying, quote, "We look forward to celebrating this momentous announcement with the community and the Lions organization," and closed quote. Lastly, making headlines at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, also from the Detroit Free Press, Ford has recalled 737,000 vehicles in order to fix oil leaks and trailer brakes. Ford is issuing 2 recalls covering over 737,000 vehicles to fix oil leaks and trailer braking systems that won't work. The oil leak recall includes the 2020 through 2022 Ford Escape SUV and the 2021 and 2022 Bronco Sport SUV with 1.5-liter engines. A housing can crack and oil can leak onto engine parts, which can create a fire hazard. Dealers will replace the housing if needed. Owners will be notified starting April 18th. The trailer braking recall includes F-150 pickups from 2021 and 2022, as well as the 2022 F-250, 350, 450, and 550. Also covered are the 2022 Maverick pickup and Ford Expedition, as well as the Lincoln Navigator SUVs. A software error can stop trailers from braking, increasing the risk of a crash. Dealers will update brake control software, and owners will be notified beginning on April 18th. More information on that and this full article from the Detroit Free Press, as well as all those headlines, on our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, as well as those ever helpful links to accurate, up-to-date information on COVID-19 from the NDHHS, the Oakland County Health Division, and federally from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta are also on our website. We have a great program ahead on this Friday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Coming up, we'll be speaking with Dr. Brooke Weingarten from the Birmingham Maple Clinic about mental health and therapy. And then at 10:40 a.m., Jarrett Schlaff from Pingree, Detroit joins the program to talk about locally made products right here in Lower Michigan by those in Detroit, from products within Detroit by a number of different people, including our local veterans. That's all up next. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you. Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation. Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Whether you're the city, the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree. Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment. Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it. So pick up pet waste and trash it. There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
Over the course of the pandemic, mental health has come to the forefront of the medical community and of greater society. And now as COVID-19 cases continue to drop and the pandemic seems to be slowly fading into the rearview mirror, the question then has now arisen, should I continue with online therapy or is it time to go back to in-person counseling? Joining us to answer that question and more is Dr. Brooke Weingarten from the Birmingham Maple Clinic. Dr. Weingarten, thank you for being with us again.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So during the pandemic, online therapy became the norm for safety reasons. It's become the norm, or it's become more of an option across the board medically and in other businesses as well. As cases continue to drop and things are getting more and more back to some sense of normal, have you noticed that online therapy sessions have also reduced? Have they stayed the same?
I think that there are a certain subset of patients who have requested to come back to in-person, whether they are young children who don't have much of an attention span because of ADHD, or if they really are needing more one-on-one redirective. But I'm seeing a majority of patients are really enjoying continuing with online therapy. There have been so many benefits, including just saving time for travel, having to pull children and people out of school and people out of work. And it's been so convenient to have that accessibility to your therapist.
Who have you found in your experience and from discussions with other professionals in your industry, who have you found to be those that online therapy seems to be more effective for versus in-person counseling?
I have experienced, as well as many of my colleagues, that the majority of patients have done really well with online therapy. There have been multiple studies that, even prior to the pandemic, that have been exploring this, as telehealth was something that was starting to come into fruition as a way for accessibility for patients in rural areas that didn't have access to care, and really have been finding that the benefit using online therapy and the benefit using in-person therapy is very similar. And I think that's been something that's really important to remember. So most patients really have found benefit in online. So I don't even know that it's a specific. I would say the majority of patients have really enjoyed continuing online.
So for those that are seeking therapy or have been actively in therapy, maybe online, maybe in person over the last several months, or a combination of both, what considerations should they be keeping in mind as they make a decision whether to continue on with their counseling online versus in person, or some sort of an in-between workaround?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing to remember is, the fact that we have online availability is allowing so many more people to have access to care. So someone who may have not been able to get to therapy because their work schedule or their school schedule, or they're just too busy, or their children, can take an hour out of their day, step into another room, and have access to that therapy. So people with busy schedules really are benefiting from having that online option. People who are not comfortable with travel, people who people who have a good connection with their therapist, and that can be from the very first appointment even. It really doesn't change that connection whether you're in person or online.
So are there any certain conditions where a therapist may believe that it is best for a patient to have an in-person consultation versus online?
I mean, there certainly would be. There are some conditions such as, eating disorders where you really need to see a person in person, whether they need to be, monitored as far as their weight, or you need to, see the entirety of their nonverbal communication. There are some patients, again, I think that the kiddos that I see with ADHD have a really hard time sometimes with online therapy because their attention span is just not there. Some of the more defiant kids that struggle. I think kids, for the most part, have done better in person just because they feel more of that connection. They feel like they're away from siblings that could possibly be listening to them. They think that they can get a little more engagement that way. That being said, I have lots of kids that I see who have done really well online, but that would be a subset as well for people that are needing to be in person.
We're joined by Dr. Brooke Weingarten from the Birmingham Maple Clinic, joining us on the Mighigan Megacast. More information on the website, birminghammaple.com. That's birminghammaple.com for more information and for consultation. Dr. Weingarten, have you found that there are certain personality types that respond better to online therapy or telehealth versus in person? And how can those differences in personality types ultimately lead to more effective care if it is online or if it is in person versus the other?
I have found, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, those of my patients that are either a little more timid, that have more social anxiety, that may be a little more nervous about talking about certain things, maybe with some trauma history, maybe that are just a little more resistant and hesitant to the idea of talking about things, have done really well with online treatment, because something about having that the computer screen in between you is like a separation a little bit, and I think that people feel a little more comfortable then that you're not sitting directly in front of somebody. They get a little less nervous about being able to verbalize certain things that are on their mind, which is wonderful because it's a little easier for them to open up.
We're joined by Dr. Brooke Weingarten from the Birmingham Maple Clinic with us on the Mighigan Megacast. More information on their website, birminghammaple.com. That's birminghammaple.com for more information and for information as well on consultation. And so we've seen during the pandemic that particularly anxiety and depression have been very common ailments that have either come more to the forefront of people's medical existence or their needs in terms of therapy. As we're starting to come away from the pandemic and into whatever normal is going to be going forward, are you seeing, or do you expect to see, some of those similar feelings relapse or come back to the forefront also, because there's also this great unknown ahead of us with what does it mean to be post-pandemic?
Absolutely. So I am most definitely seeing I don't even know if it was a dip and then a surge, a continued surge of anxiety and depression. I think we've gone through many transitions throughout the last several years, going from, normal life to lockdown, and then to all virtual, and then to in person with masks. And, all the different changes have created so many transitions for us. And this is yet another transition with an unknown, and the pandemic is still, it's not completely gone. So I'm absolutely seeing a lot of anxiety, social anxieties, panic, depression, trauma, while people are also somewhat processing everything that they've just been through, yet there's still some fears about the future, about, finances, health, all of the things that we have been experiencing but continue to be magnified.
We're joined by Dr. Brooke Weingarten from the Birmingham Maple Clinic with us on the Mighigan Megacast. For those that may be having these feelings pop up, maybe they felt these feelings before and kind of ignored them, or they haven't been so severe, or so severe or so visible to them, visceral to them, that they have just sort of passed them by in the past. But now it's at a point where they're feeling this is something that's not normal for me. I'm not feeling quite right. Where should that process start in terms of seeking therapy, looking for the the right therapist, determining whether to go online or in person? Where should that process really start for each individual?
So that's a great question, and I get that question a lot from patients and friends in the community. Oftentimes, I think going to your primary care physician is a really nice home base to start, because they will often have therapists and psychiatrists and other mental health professionals who they would recommend to start with. They can really guide you of who they like to work with, who they feel comfortable with. If you are already working with a therapist, you may feel that you need to speak with a psychiatrist or vice versa. Sometimes you might ask a friend if there's someone that, that they've liked, or if there's another professional, somebody that they've liked. Asking around is good. And if you really don't have anyone to ask, you can always look on the back of your insurance card and see who is covered. They always will have a list of mental health providers on there. And it's a good idea to sort of read through. Now, I always emphasize to patients that the most important thing is the fit. If it's a good fit, you're going to find success in therapy, whether it's online or in person or any which way. If you don't feel like it's the right fit, it's okay to continue to explore and find somebody else, because they might be the most wonderful therapist or physician in the world, but if it's not the right fit for you, then it's not going to be as successful. So it's okay to meet a few people. It's okay to try it out and feel that you need a change.
So it's going to be different for each person. It's going to be different for each professional on the other side, whether it is a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a therapist, whomever the patient may be visiting. So for you and for other colleagues of yours in the industry, that first visit with someone, can you give us a walkthrough of what sort of is that first visit like? I know it's obviously going to be different from one person to another based on what they need to talk through or what conditions they may be afflicted with. But generally speaking, what is that first visit like?
So whether you're seeing a therapist, whether it's social worker, psychologist, whether you're going to see a psychiatrist, a lot of people are very nervous because they're not quite sure what's going to happen in the first visit. And I would like to reassure you to say that, the first visit is really just somewhat to get to know you. What's bringing you to see me? Tell me a little bit about what you've been experiencing. Let's talk about your sleep habits and your appetite and some of the day-to-day things that you're experiencing. What are some things that you wish were better? And then you get into a little bit of, family history, medical history, history of treatment. It's a lot of sort of the checkpoints of just wanting to make sure that you're getting to know that person. And if there are questions, I have a lot of patients that say, I'm really nervous about therapy because I don't know what to say. I don't know what I'm supposed to do or which type of therapy I need or what to tell them. And I remind them, yeah, of course you don't. That's not you don't have to know those things. If you're working with somebody, that is our job to know how to direct you and how to figure out what's the best course of action for you. So you don't have to know any of those things. We're really taking some time to get to know you, to figure out what the best treatment modality is for you. And that could be therapy, that could be medication, that could be a combination of both.
And so on the other side, for patients, what are some of the questions that you as a professional that is providing this therapy to them, this counseling to them, what would you and other professionals like from them, if they are to ask any questions, what should they be asking of the professional that they're visiting in their first visit or in their opening visits to kind of get that information back and that feedback themselves so that they can determine if this is the right fit or if they need to go look and seek another professional?
Sure. I think part of the right fit is also sort of personality meshes. And that's the type of thing that's not specific for a checklist. If you feel like you're comfortable, if you feel like you can talk to someone and you feel like you're not judged, you feel like you're in a setting where, okay, I think that I could open up and this person seems to get me. That's a huge plus, and that's a bit, that's more of an internal feeling. But sometimes it's good for a patient just to know, hey, what type of therapy are you recommending? Is there a certain, regimen that you think would be best? How many times a week, would you recommend? Do we have specific goals? Are there specific things that I need to know in order to be, my best participant in this therapy? And there may not, so those goals and those answers may change, but it's a good place to start a conversation and to develop that relationship. But a lot of it is really just that internal feeling of, do I feel comfortable? Do I feel like this person really is hearing me? Where I can then take it to the next step so we can kind of work together.
We're joined by Brooke Weingarten, Dr. Brooke Weingarten from the Birmingham Maple Clinic on the Michigan Megacast. More information on the website, birminghammaple.com. Dr. Weingarten, before we let you go, anything else that would be important for our audience to be considering at this time if they are in therapy, if they're considering therapy, or if they're considering whether they should go online or in person or some combination?
I think it's just great to know that if you feel that you're struggling, if you feel like your motivation has changed, you're not interested in things the way that you were, you're really feeling kind of hopeless, you're nervous and keyed up and panicky, and if things are not right for you, if you feel like you're still having a hard time, first of all, you're not alone. There's so many people that are also struggling, and it's always a good idea to reach out and find somebody to support you. We could all use the support. If everybody was working with a therapist, then the world would be a happy place. I think it's a really important thing, and you do whatever you feel works best for your schedule, whether it's in person or online, and just know that both are extremely effective. Both are equally effective. You're not losing anything by taking one versus the other. So if it works for you to only be doing online, wonderful. At least you're there, and at least you can find that support from someone.
Dr. Weingarten, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
To Sophia and Gabriel, even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
72.7% of high school students get less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. This can cause pain, obesity, and can very negatively affect your mental health. When you have a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, you get sick less often, lose more weight, and have better relationships with those around you. For more information about the dangers of sleep deprivation, go to sleepfoundation.org. This message is brought to you by the WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected. Get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Achoo! Everyone wants to support local businesses, and what's even better is when these businesses create their products in our backyard with people from right here in Michigan. One Detroit business is doing just that. Pingree Detroit CEO and co-founder Jarrett Schlaff joins us now on the Megacast. Jarrett, thank you for being with us.
It's great to be with you today. Thanks.
Appreciate having you on. So we've had you on before to talk about Pingree Detroit, but for those that haven't seen our previous interview with you or aren't familiar with Pingree Detroit, tell us about your business.
Of course. So first, I was actually born and raised in Waterford, went to Waterford schools, went to Oakland University, and the company itself, we're based right here in Detroit. I've had the chance to live in Detroit since 2010. Our company didn't start with the product. We started with purpose in mind. So we started with the goal of making meaningful living wage work in Detroit. We saw a need and opportunity to create that meaningful work alongside U.S. veterans and Detroiters. And so when we started, we were seeking what we could make. At the time, we hadn't made shoes since the 1950s in Detroit. We actually launched the first sneakers made in the city back in 2018. And since have expanded to everything from our junkyard dog leashes to we have wallets, everything made with leather and seatbelts upcycled from the Detroit auto industry.
And so you mentioned veterans being a critical part of that, and that is a really interesting point, is that a lot of these products that you're creating are being created by veterans that you're hiring to fill these jobs when they come out of the service and are looking for that first civilian job after exiting the military and retiring from their services. And so all these products are made right here in Michigan by civilians and by military veterans. Tell us the story of how that effort got started, hiring or looking actively to hire veterans into this operation to create these Detroit-made products.
Of course. I'll start by saying every organization, every business can benefit from mission-driven individuals, especially veterans. So we're thrilled and lucky to have leaders on our team. Our co-owners include veterans. The whole design of our business is really mission first. So when we started and we decided, we saw this as an opportunity, as a need. We were meeting folks, especially even in my neighborhood, who couldn't find meaningful work. And so we decided, what can we create with our hands? What can we make? How can we create a business that develops, advances folks, teaches a skilled trade, and then gives equity. So we actually share 77 cents of every dollar in profit with the veterans and Detroiters in our team. We do free skilled trades training, industrial sewing, shoemaking, leather crafting, machine repair. Thanks to a ton of partners, we're able to do this, and we're really trying to be rooted in the neighborhood in which we're a part of.
And so talk about those partnerships. What are some of those partnerships that allow you to put these efforts forward? Because it's pretty unique in any business, a large business or a small business that's locally owned, to provide that kind of training opportunities for your employees on top of their everyday work.
Definitely. I could spend an entire program just going through a list of all the partners, so I can't do all that. But I'll say a few top of mind. The state of Michigan has been amazing, partnering with us both through like the Skilled Trades Training Fund to give us some dollars towards some of those training costs. As a small business that still some months aren't profitable and year to year are still working on getting that balance, we've depended on relationships with folks like Lear, Eagle Ottawa, Ford, GM, Rocket Mortgage, all these different groups and individuals who have supported us with training dollars, resources of equipment, materials. So, we've gotten this leather, and some seatbelts are actually donated. So folks like Autoliv just donated this. Actually, this is car seatbelt webbing from the company Autoliv out of Auburn Hills that literally donate these seatbelts that we use for testing that we turn into dog leashes, and then the handles on that leather, right? This nice leather handle, that's literally car seats, steering wheel, and headrest leather from our partners at Autoliv as well as Lear and Eagle Ottawa. So with their support, mentorship, financial dollars, it makes our work possible.
We're joined by Jarrett Schlaff, the CEO and co-founder of Pingree Detroit, joining us on the Megacast. Price also a big factor for you on the business side, but also for customers and every product that's being made and being sold. And one of the added benefits of having your products being locally sourced and locally made is you're not factoring in so much of those shipping costs or those import costs as well that often play into the final price of these products and the amount of money that you and then your employees are able to make from the production of these products. Can you talk about the importance of having these products that you're selling in Detroit or out of Detroit also being made in the city of Detroit?
Of course. Yeah. So one thing that's unique about us is we actually source every single component from the United States. It's very, very difficult. We're close to having that across every product line, but things like our leash, right? This is made in America. It's extremely hard to source hardware in America. Our label is sewn in America. Every piece of hardware components, there's only a few things like some of our footwear. There's a few key parts that just aren't made in the United States. But otherwise, the things that are, we source locally. So we're both expanding, creating more American jobs. We're keeping things local, reducing the carbon footprint, and we can share those cost savings with folks as well. So like our leashes are $29.99, right? It's an accessible price point. We've got, $44 tri-fold wallets. Our coasters are $21.99. Great gift, comes with the story, comes with the impact with our Corktown coasters. Our mouse pads are, $20. So really a goal of what our cost is to make it, enough markup to cover our lights and bills and have some go back to the team in our neighborhoods. But our core focus is being competitive, creating goods that last a lifetime, and then really just infusing that right back into the city of Detroit and broader Michigan.
We're joined by Jarrett Schlaff, the CEO and co-founder of Pingree Detroit, with us on the Oakland County Megacast. So talk to us also about Corktown coasters. It's another great product that you manufacture right in the city of Detroit using products from right here in Michigan.
What's fun with the coasters, we actually just are now in a few stores across Michigan, including the new Meyer Market downtown, the Somerset collection of the Detroit shop, and a few other boutiques across the city that can all be found on our website. And then these ship direct to you for free, no cost in shipping. And inside the actual coasters, one side is leather, the other side is cork. The cork's actually upcycled from the production of wine bottles, which is really cool. So you got upcycled cork, upcycled car seat leather, united together with our logo embossed. We like to say that wherever your drink is, you always have the best seat in the house, right? Literally and figuratively. So yeah, the Corktown coasters at $21.99. Great gifts. Comes with a set of 4, and it's one of our biggest sellers.
Yeah, we just talked to Dr. Mighigan Raji from Oakland University about sustainability, and part of that is taking these products that are being used, these materials that are being used to create products in Michigan and all throughout the U.S., really, and being able to use the scraps from those parts to create other products as well. How important is it for your organization, on top of providing great opportunities for veterans and civilians and for creating these products in Detroit by Detroiters, to also be thinking about the greater good of the environment and the wider community in the future and reducing the amount of waste coming out of the city that can often have an increased impact on city areas?
Of course. Great question. Starting off, we're all literally in this together. So understanding that when stuff goes to landfill, it doesn't just go away. There's no such thing as a way. A way is some person's backyard. A way is our watershed. So as much as we can keep out of the landfill, we can work towards creating this circular economy where if we design and engineer products so that at the end of the useful life of that, it can be recycled, upcycled, turning into something else, then we've done a good job. And so at Pingree, our goal is to be 100% waste-free. We've actually diverted over 17 tons of leather from the landfill since we started in 2015 from our partnerships with the auto industry. So we're thrilled to be able to be a part of that journey. We know that there's a long way to go and it takes time, but we'd love eventually to be a place where you could scan a QR code on your box, and when you keep that box, and 10 years, 15 years, 20 years later, got that little box in your closet, and your pair of shoes finally breaks down, or that leash finally is, it's had its amazing life, and the dog chewed it up to a degree where it's unusable. You scan that QR code, we ship you a box back, you send it back to us, we deconstruct it and send you a discount for another one. We want to create that closed loop system, and eventually be able to shred that, reluminate it into fibers. There's a way to do it. It takes money, it takes resources, it takes a lot of collaboration, but we believe we're up for the task.
Yeah, and what's great about that too is that it creates that cycle in the Detroit area, in the city of Detroit, in Michigan, to where these products are being recycled, they're being remade, they're being resold, and are benefiting the economy directly right here in Michigan and right there in Detroit, where Pingree Detroit is based. We're joined by CEO and co-founder Jarrett Schlaff from Pingree Detroit on the Oakland County Megacast. Can you talk about your your home goods line of Pingree products as well, because you're starting to expand your product base out to many different places in the Metro Detroit area on top of in the city?
Of course. Yeah. So we recently launched our brand new mouse pad, which is really simple. It's double-sided, really, really soft, great for mousing. We also have a 2-in-1 trivet. So for, keeping the tables nice, adding a little centerpiece for when you're doing baking or outside grilling, we got the 2-in-1 trivet. And then our Corktown coasters. We're also designing some other products as well with our home goods collection. We also have our Workfolio journal. That's great to sit on top of the desk for notes. It comes with a pen made by the National Institute for the Blind. It comes with a moleskin Workfolio. And those are again hand stitched. The stitching is guaranteed for life. So when a new idea is inspiring, pull out that Workfolio. You've got a piece that comes with a name. With all of our goods, it comes with the name of the veteran in Detroit who made it and a picture of them with a quote. So you really connect with who made your goods. And when someone says, "Wow, I like that Workfolio," you can say, "Yeah, this is made by Nate. He was an Air Force veteran in Detroit."
Yeah, that's really cool. And you can learn more about these products and learn more about the mission of Pingree Detroit by visiting the website, pingreedetroit.com. We're joined by CEO and co-founder Jarrett Schlaff with us on the Megacast. Again, that website, pingreedetroit.com. And so you mentioned earlier, you showed us earlier some of your Pingree Detroit shoes that you're also making from upcycled leather there at your business. Can you tell us about the shoe line, some of the different products that people are able to get through the Pingree Detroit shoes, and how those are also produced?
Of course. So a lot of times folks, we've heard folks say that, our goods, they smell like a new car because they nearly were, right? And so with our Mayor sneaker, that's the same thing. We're only making about 10 pairs per month. And so we actually, when we did our 2022 drop on Veterans Day of last year, they sold out in a few days, right? So we literally sold all 120 pairs we can make for this year. We're currently making as we can speak. So we're taking folks onto a wait list. So if they go to our website, they'll see the Mayor sneaker They can literally add their name, their shoe size. We're also, in the future, might be coming out with a boot. That's the only teaser I'm going to share. So we're investing a lot into expanding that. We're hopefully going to have some exciting things to share in a couple months with a new partnership that I can't go into now, but that are it's inspiring us to the moon of what's possible when it comes to training and employment opportunities. And then, across the board, we've really been developing our pet line. So you can see this kind of Detroit made me. You got the Pingree pet bow ties, our collars, our dog leashes, even little things like a waist bag holder for $10. You after you knot your waist bag, you put it right here. So as you're tying this to the leash, you never have to carry a waist bag ever again. So anyone that's a dog parent, dog grandparent, these are a really fun little gifts with a little poop emoji, right? Nice. And so yeah, that's probably been one of our fastest growing lines, actually, our pet division.
We're joined by Pingree Detroit CEO and co-founder Jarrett Schlaff on the Megacast. More information on their website, pingreedetroit.com. That is pingreedetroit.com for more information and to shop online through Pingree Detroit. And so a couple more minutes with you, Jarrett, before we'll say goodbye. Anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to know, or anything else we should be on the lookout for on your website or at your physical location?
Great question. I would say one thing that's not necessarily on our website, but we just started leaning into is beyond just the goods you can buy on our website. We've done cross-branded goods with a number of corporate, nonprofit, and different small business partners. So things like our Whittier wallet or a business card holder, they can be cross-branded. So for smaller runs of 10 up to, we've done 2,000 of one good. We can put your logo on our coasters along with ours, so it can tell the story of impact to give us gifts, whether it's employee gifts, partners, customers. We have that capability. So we invite folks to email us at team, T-E-A-M, at pingreedetroit.com if you are interested in learning more about cross-branded collaborations. And then we're also looking for stores across Michigan and honestly the country to have our goods. So right now we're in 9 stores, and we'd love to be in double that by the end of the year. So if any folks have a favorite store, they can make a connection. It would be such a gift to connect with stores and individuals who might be interested in cross-branded goods.
That email, team at pingreedetroit.com. Team at pingreedetroit.com. Their website, of course, pingreedetroit.com for more information. Jarrett, thank you so much for being with us.
It's such a gift as always. Happy Friday, everybody.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate. So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Welcome to the Michigan Megacast on your radio homes for the show. 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you will find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. We often hear reduce, reuse, recycle as a saying to encourage sustainable use of goods and preventing further pollution from trash, but what does it mean to recycle and what mistakes may we be making as we attempt to do so? Joining us now to talk about that and more is Michael Scapo, the General Manager of Resource Recovery and Recycling Authority of Southwest Oakland County. Michael, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, good to have you with us. So first, can you tell us about the organization that you work with, the Resource Recovery and Recycling Authority of Southwest Oakland County? What sort of services does this authority provide to those in Oakland County, and who does it serve in the county?
Sure, Tyler. So the authority is a municipal solid waste authority. We represent 9 municipalities in Southwest Oakland County, stretching from Southfield out to South Lyon. And we help those communities manage and design, manage those programs for trash, recycling, yard waste, hazardous materials, everything dealing with the stuff that we bring into our homes and then want to get rid of at some point. We have in Southfield a materials recovery facility to which the recycled materials are brought for processing made into commodities for the value chain, the critical supply chain, and shipped to market. That facility serves not just the 9 communities, though, that I represent, but a variety of communities throughout Southeast Michigan, including many communities in Oakland County, and then the surrounding counties as well. So we focus on trying to make sure that folks understand what can and cannot be recycled, and making sure that's properly prepared before we get it to prepare it for the critical supply chain.
So then what is exactly the process of recycling? Because people will put items that they believe are recyclable in the recycling bins. They'll be picked up by whatever trash authority is assigned to their municipality, and then off it goes, and we don't think about it again. But once those products are off and on their way to the recycling centers, where they're being processed, what happens from there in order to actually recycle these different items?
Yeah, at a materials recovery facility, otherwise known as a MRF, what will happen is that material will get dumped out of the truck onto what we call the tip floor. And from that point, it then gets loaded into a system. That system is essentially a combination of mechanical and manual means of sorting those materials into the various commodities. And so we'll make bales of paper and bales of cardboard and bales of tin and bales of milk jugs. But along that way, what we have to do is make sure that we're pulling out those materials that aren't recyclable. Very often people will put something into the recycling cart, either because they think it's recyclable, or in some cases just because they were looking for a convenient way to dispose of something. And so it's incumbent upon the team at the MRF to make sure that those materials are pulled out for a variety of reasons. One is that they can constitute contaminants to the actual product that's being shipped to a paper mill or a plastics processor. They can also present dangers to the employees that are sorting out these materials at the MRF. Some cases, like a lithium battery, may start a fire. In some cases, it may just be something that can damage some equipment, a big piece of metal that's larger than what the system can handle. So there's a variety of checkpoints along the way where people are pre-sorting the material, making sure that the non-recyclable materials are safely removed, and then the rest of the system then is involved in separating those materials into the various commodity grades, whether it's with optical sorters or rotating screens or magnets or eddy currents, or by hand, whichever the case may be. And then, of course, all those material streams are quality checked before they go off to the baler, which bales these materials into their individual commodities in weights of 1,500 to 2,000 pounds, subsequently loaded onto a truck and then shipped off to the next destination, whether it's a paper mill here in Michigan, a plastics processor, or perhaps somewhere else in the United States.
And so after that point, when these products are shipped off to a paper mill or to a plastic processing plant or wherever they may go, having them then get eventually recirculated back into the population as that same product, fresh and new again, how does that process happen? Because whether it be paper that's got text printed all over it or images printed all over it, or single-use plastics that have been dirtied up, I would imagine there's quite an extensive process that goes into re-preparing that to be usable again in some form or fashion.
Oh, indeed. So it varies by commodity. So, for example, aluminum can generally be made into another aluminum can. So it's a process of smelting it, and then it has to go through a cleaning process and a smelting process, and it's made into new aluminum cans. Something like paper goes through what we call a pulping process. So it goes through this sort of chemistry project at the paper mill where it's made into sort of a paste, and then contaminants are screened out. If it needs to be bleached because they want a lighter grade of paper that they're going to be using, or they, in some cases, you'll see that, for example, some paper won't be made into the exact same thing it was made in before, but it'll be made into another type of paper, depending upon, what that mill produces. Plastics, much the same way. It'll go through a shredding process, then a washing and rinsing process, where it's ultimately either flaked or pelletized and made into essentially a raw material that can then be used in either blown molded or injection molded manufacturing to make new products. Very often it's going to be food packaging. In the case of paper, we're very often looking at making, more packaging material like boxes for, packaging food, packaging medical supplies, and packaging all the goods that we get on a regular basis, whether we, go to a brick and mortar store and buy them, or we get them shipped to our house by Amazon.
And so we're joined by Michael Scapo, the General Manager of the Resource Recovery and Recycling Authority of South Oakland County, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on rrasoc.org, rrasoc.org for more information, as they serve 9 different communities in Oakland County, that being the city of Farmington, Farmington Hills, Milford Township, Novi, Southfield, South Lyon, and Wixom. More information, again, rrasoc.org. And so, Michael, this is about the time where people will be beginning or already in process of doing some spring cleaning in their home, in their office, and so on. And a lot of these things that they are clearing out of their home, whether they be for cluttering reasons or they're no longer using them, whatever the reason may be. Oftentimes, they're simply just throwing them away. They're tossing them into a dumpster. They're tossing them into their trash can. A lot of these items, however, can be recycled. What are some of these items that are commonly thrown away instead of being recycled because of either a lack of knowledge on their recyclability or because they are just generally have always been considered trash?
Yeah, so it really falls into sort of 2 categories. I would suggest it's those things that are recyclable that go into your recycling cart or bin, and those are going to be old boxes and magazines and papers and that collection of National Geographics that's been sitting around for the last 40 years. All those things can go in your recycling container, and they'll be made into a new paper product in some form or fashion. Very often people are recycling or trying to throw away, I should say, other types of things from their garages, their sheds, their basements. Things like oil-based paints, thinners, cleaners, pesticides, household chemicals. And it's really important to handle those things properly because, one, they don't belong in your recycling because they're not recyclable in that way, like your aluminum cans and your old magazines. But they also don't belong in your trash. And of course, we also don't want them improperly disposed. We don't want, old gasoline, for example, poured down a drain or poured out in the yard. There's a lot of environmental hazards there. So we want to make sure that stuff is handled properly. So depending upon where you live, your community will be part of an organization that will have a household hazardous waste collection program. In the 9 communities that we represent, we have 7 collection events each year where people can bring us the oil-based paints, the thinners, the cleaners, the pesticides, the old medications, for example. We want to make sure that those things are brought to one of those events so that if it's got some value left and can be made into something new, like if it's a combustible liquid that can be used for generating energy, we want to capture that energy content. If it's something that just needs to be disposed of properly so it doesn't contaminate the environment, doesn't come into contact with people or the environment through illicit dumping or improper disposal, we want to prevent that. So check with your community to find out when the next household hazardous waste collection event is, because at those events, that's really your opportunity to take all that stuff that you might be generating as part of the spring cleaning and making sure that it's going down the right pathway so that it's being handled safely and we're capturing the value if it has value. And if not, we're, again, making sure it's properly disposed so that we're not creating hazards. And one of the things that we like to focus on is old medications. And a lot of police departments also will take old pills. We want to have people routinely go through their medicine cabinets and go through the place where they store their medications and make sure they're not keeping around old medications that are either expired or there's something they don't need anymore. We don't want them to accidentally take the wrong medication. We certainly don't want people for whom that medication wasn't prescribed to get their hands on that medication, and that they don't also belong flushed down the toilet, because then it ends up in the ecosystem and that creates problems as well. So these hazardous waste events, as well as many police departments, are well equipped to take your old medications and make sure that they're properly handled in a safe way and in a secure way as well, so they don't fall into the wrong hands.
Visit your local police department headquarters or call your local police department on the non-emergency line in order to talk about whether or not they are involved in a drug take-back program such as Operation Medicine Cabinet or something else in your local area. And then we're also being joined today by Michael Scapo, the General Manager of the Resource Recovery and Recycling Authority of Southwest Oakland County. Their upcoming household hazardous waste disposal events include April 9th at the Wixom Department of Public Works, April 23rd at the RRA SOC MRF truck entrance, May 7th at the Oakland Community College Orchard Ridge campus located on Orchard Lake Road in Farmington Hills, and May 21st at the Milford Civic Center. More information on the website rrasoc.org. That's rrasoc.org. And so, Michael, we've talked about some of the common items in the home, in your work environment that may be recyclable and are often thrown out. Let's go on the opposite end now. What are some of those common items that are often recycled, go into the plants for sorting, and then have to be sorted out because they're not actually recyclable, but people may think that they are?
Probably the most common item would be plastic bags or shrink wrap. You know, if you buy a case of water bottles, for example, it'd be in a cardboard box, which is readily recyclable. All those bottles, including the caps, are readily recyclable. But that shrink wrap around the outside that's holding those bottles in that box, it might be labeled as recyclable, but it is not something we can process. It gets tangled up in our equipment. You know, the plastics processors don't want it on the scale that would, you know, be generated. So that's something that's not recyclable. Plastic bags, you know, grocery bags, bags you might get from a retailer. Another big mistake we see folks making is they will collect their recyclables in a plastic bag and then put that plastic bag with the recyclables in it in a container at a drop-off center or in their recycling cart or recycling bin. And that's a problem for us as well. We do not open bags for a couple of reasons. One is it's just not efficient. It really slows down the entire process and really creates a lot of problems for us. But the more important one is it's a safety issue. Our staff, they don't know what's in those bags. And if they, you know, they're not going to start opening up a bag because it might be something hazardous. It might be just trash. It might contaminate the rest of the material, and it might pose some sort of hazard to the staff person as well. So if we see bags of recyclables on our tip floor, those end up in the trash. So someone may have gone to the trouble of collecting the recyclables in a bag thinking they're doing something right, but because they improperly prepared them, we end up having to throw them away. And we see that with other items as well, even recyclable items. You know, if that dog food can has still got, you know, half a can of dog food in it, you know, we really can't use that. We do not want those organic food products, whether it's dog food or, you know, can of beans or whatever the case may be, with our recyclable materials. The places that we have to send them don't want the food in the product. We don't want it on our tip floor because it creates smells, it attracts vectors, you know, flies and raccoons and possums and you name it. So we ask people to make sure that their stuff is rinsed out. Now, they don't have to run that old food can or that soup can through the dishwasher. It doesn't have to be pristine, but we do want them to take the time to rinse it out, make sure it's clean, empty, and dry is the phrase that we like to use. And once it's clean, empty, and dry, it's certainly recyclable and can go in, you know, in your container. We also, of course, recommend that people visit our website or their community's website. We have a mobile app, in fact, called the Recycling Directory, where you can type in a material and it'll tell you what to do with it, whether or not it is recyclable, because we want people to familiarize themselves with the rules of what can and cannot be recycled. They'll find it's really pretty straightforward and there's a lot of common sense things in there, but we do find that people will sometimes be misled by the labeling on a package because it might say it's recyclable when in fact it's not. And then the other big mistake that is out there, it's really not folks' fault, but plastic products have this little arrows chasing arrows typically on the bottom with a number in the middle. And that's a resin code identifying the type of plastic out of which that product is made. It doesn't necessarily mean, though, that it's recyclable. It just really says what type of plastic it is. But depending on how that product is made out of that type of plastic, it may or may not be recyclable. And it's only really recyclable, as I like to say, if it's practically recyclable. Can we cost effectively collect it at scale? Can we cost effectively and safely sort it at a processing facility and perhaps most importantly, is there some place downstream, like a paper mill, like a plastics processor, like a metals processor, that wants that as a raw material that they can then either themselves or ship it further downstream to some manufacturer that will make that into a new product? Because if it can't be made into a new product, cost effectively, it's not really recyclable, even if it might be labeled as recyclable. So check your guidelines, check your rules. Many times you'll see stamped on the lid of your recycling cart what can and cannot go into that cart. And so then, of course, if there's any questions, folks can always reach out to either us or their municipality, or send us an email, give us a telephone call, or simply just check our website at rasoc.org to find out what can and cannot go into the recycling cart.
We're joined by Michael Scapo, the General Manager of the Resource Recovery and Recycling Authority of Southwest Oakland County on the Michigan Megacast, rrrasoc.org for more information, rrrasoc.org. To learn more, or you can also call them at 248-208-2270, 248-208-2270. Leslie, I live in an apartment complex. We don't have specific recycling services available. There's not a recycling dumpster that's there. This is a common problem, not just here in Michigan, but really everywhere that recycling happens. Has this void in the recycling system, has that been ever even remotely addressed? And if not, then, and if it's not something that could potentially be solved anytime soon, what should those that are living in an apartment or in another facility that does not include recycling services, what should they do in order to contribute to recycling these products?
So that is a problem that's being worked on, and there's a couple of ways to address it. In the near term, many of us, like the authority, we have a drop-off facility. We have a drop-off facility in Southfield, and we have a drop-off facility in Novi, and people can find the location of that on both those sites on our website. And those sites accept the same things that a single-family homeowner would be able to put in their recycling cart. So we encourage people that live in apartments to make themselves aware of those opportunities. And we're not the only drop-off sites in Oakland County. There are other sites, and there are other sites throughout Southeast Michigan, and of course across the country. We are also working, from a broader policy standpoint to figure out ways to encourage multifamily recycling. Very often it ends up being the responsibility of the folks that own that apartment complex to provide for those services for their tenants. But they're not going to do that unless their tenants value that and want that service at their site. That on-site recycling that can be done logistically is a little bit more complicated than curbside recycling for single-family homes, but it can be done at multifamily units. But the tenants have to want it, and the managers of those facilities have to make those arrangements. Sometimes logistically it's a little bit more challenging because historically, apartment complexes weren't designed to accommodate recycling services. And so, there are some workarounds that may have to be done. But at the end of the day, it is possible. And we're working, as a recycling community, and the state of Michigan through its Renew Michigan program is trying to figure out ways to encourage more multifamily and apartment recycling. But in the meantime, we do have our drop-off sites available, and folks are more than welcome to use it, whether or not they live in our 9 communities or not. If they live in one of the neighboring communities that doesn't have a drop-off and they don't have at-home recycling, they can bring it to our drop-off in Novi or in Southfield, and we'll take it from there.
Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. More information on their website, rrrasoc.org. That's rrrasoc.org to learn more information. We'll take a quick break here on the Michigan Megacast. On the other side, speaking of recycling, there's an opportunity to recycle some of your old books to students, to teachers, and to families in need. Todd Whalen from Give My Books will join us next. This is the Michigan Megacast.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
We work together to protect water resources for everyone.
Most of the pollution entering our rivers is carried by rainwater that runs off roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
A rain garden helps catch stormwater runoff.
Rain gardens and their plants help dirty runoff soak into the ground.
You can do your part to help keep our water clean.
Learn about rain gardens and native plants.
So consider a rain garden in your home landscaping.
Catch the runoff with a rain garden.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
COVID-19 pandemic shined a bright light on the literacy gap here in Michigan, and one local organization is looking to help get Michigan reading, giving away an astounding 50,000 books to the community. Give My Books founder Todd Whalen joins us now on the Michigan Megacast. Todd, thank you for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you on with us. Let's begin. For those who are unfamiliar with Give My Books, can you talk about Give My Books and what you've been doing, your organization's been doing with books and other media in our community since 2008?
Yeah, so Give My Books is it's our family business. So what we've been doing is we've been picking up books from people who no longer need them or don't, for whatever reason, directly from people's homes, right off their front porch or another safe, dry location. So that way we collect them. And then as a family business, what we do is we sell them to support our service and to support our family. But not all of them can be sold. So we give as many as possible back to the community. And we've been doing that through a number of different ways.
And so, Todd, what inspired that giving portion of this operation? Obviously, the books that you can resell from your business side, you want to resell and make whatever you can off of them. But the ones that may not be able to be resold but may be useful to the community, they can come very much in handy to educators, to students that may not otherwise have access to those books. So where did that inspiration begin to start that effort?
Yeah, that's good. So back when I started this business, I was a single dad. And so what started it was I was asking people for their books in order to support me as a single dad. But then what I realized was that people, they love their books. They want to know that they're going to a good cause. So what we then did was just start giving them back. And people are giving us books to support our family. So then we want to give back to the community. I actually feel indebted to the community for all the help that they've given through giving their books. So that's the reason why we definitely want to give back to the community.
More information on Give My Books is available at jlcbooksale.com. jlcbooksale.com to learn more information. Last year, you gave away about 30,000 free books. And so it's got to be a massive effort from your team in order to put this effort forward at all. And your goal this year is to surpass that 30,000 almost twice over. Your goal is 50,000 books given away in our communities. So just how big of an effort is it? How many people are involved and the logistics that are involved in making this happen to get these books out into our community?
Yeah, so there's a good amount of effort to this. We've actually done a lot of the digital work using both the websites, givemybooks.com and jlcbooksale.com. They work hand in hand. So what we've been doing is giving books directly to schools in bulk. So like each school, they can get 2 books per student that can be given directly to the students, and then 2 books for the teacher for each of their students. So we're basically just dropping off bulk shipments to these different schools or organizations. That's one way we've been doing. But the way that we've modified things now is so that individuals in the community can get free books using the online checkout process through JLC Book Sale to schedule their time to come pick them out. And they get the free coupon through Give My Books. So it takes a good amount of people to set this all up, but we've actually automated most of the process that we can now get down to running it with just myself, and we have 5 other people who run the whole business together.
We're joined by Todd Whalen, the founder of Give My Books. More information in a couple of places, jlcbooksale.com as well as givemybooks.com, where you can learn more information about both the JLC Bookstore and learn more information about Give My Books, how you can get involved, how you can help them out, as they aim to give 50,000 books away to the community for free this year in this effort. And so you're based out of Washtenaw County, and for the most part, this effort has been based in Washtenaw County, with the goal now expanding from 30,000 books that was the end result approximately last year to your goal this year for 50,000 books. How is that effort going to change? Are you expanding outside of your local area in Washtenaw County to surrounding counties?
Yes, absolutely. So what we've done now is we are having parts of Livingston County, Oakland County, Wayne, and Monroe counties. So basically from where we're at, it's a approximately 30-mile radius that we've expanded our pickup area, and thus helping us to get more books so that we can actually give away more books.
What's the response been like in the community year after year as you are giving these books away? Because there seems to be, off the top of my head, there would be a couple different places these books would go. They go to individual families that may struggle financially, not be able to afford getting new books and keeping their children and their families engaged in reading and that creative mindset that comes from reading these books, but also to teachers and schools throughout our multiple county area that this effort's going to be put forth in, that we've seen, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, have had to really tighten their budgets. And often for these educators, even outside of the times of COVID, they're often buying these books out of pocket. So free books can be immensely helpful. What's the response been like from the community in Washtenaw County since 2008, as you've been doing this effort to provide these books for free in your community?
Yeah, the response has been fabulous. We've had utter appreciation for what we're doing, especially like you mentioned, teachers. They buy their own books. That's a huge burden, really. And then especially we found out during the pandemic, not everybody had access to books. They couldn't get their school libraries and things like that. So there's a big need for books to be given, especially over different economic zones. You know, not everybody makes the same amount of money and can afford books. So them being given free we've received so many either letters of appreciation, even from schools. One of my favorite things ever was getting a handwritten card from a bunch of little elementary school kids in their own handwriting. I mean, that touched my heart. So we've had a tremendous response from the community in what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm sure that helps in these individual classrooms too, to mix up and break up these lessons and give a more extensive look from the literacy standpoint in these classrooms, and of course giving that ever necessary relief, especially financially, to teachers. I know from the experiences of my aunt, who is an elementary school teacher at Brick Elementary in Ypsilanti over there in Washtenaw County, that the expenses that our teachers are putting forth just to do the bare minimum, at the very least, to teach the kids in their classes every year is immense. And so having these opportunities, not only does it help the teachers financially, and that's great, it really helps to enrich that learning experience for the kids as well.
Mm-hmm. It's very true. And one other thing, how was I going to mention? Oh, yeah, the Ypsilanti Community Schools, to help them. Yeah, even in Ypsilanti Community Schools. This is what I was going to say. This is an ongoing thing. This isn't just because it's 50,000 books, poof, we stop. We want teachers every year to continue to get books for their students, their new students, and have new books for their own classroom. So this is an ongoing thing. Yeah, we have a goal of 50,000 this year, but that's just us getting started. We just had to set a goal, and that was a good goal to start.
Yeah, if you're able to get 30,000 books, that jump to 50,000 with that effort in the community, especially as you expand out, that's a good baseline, but you can get a lot further than that, especially if you have the kind of effort that obviously you've had from the community over these many years that Give My Books has been going on. Todd Whalen joins us. He's the founder of Give My Books. More information, givemybooks.com, as well as jlcbooksale.com. And so, of course, JLC Book Sale is connected to your bookstore, and you're able to sell books through that business. And if books aren't flying off the shelves, there's an easy out there. You put them in the Give My Books, you're giving them away in the community. Someone's going to enjoy that content. But other than that, directly from your business operation, where are the rest of these books coming from?
The books, where do they come from? They come from the community. They're 100% from the community. We actually don't buy any books, and so because people give these to us, we pick up directly from people's front porches or from their, they put their books in their garage for us, and they just schedule online at givemybooks.com. We also have people that have used us, like thrift stores, nonprofits. We have universities. There's a whole list of even organizations that use our libraries. We actually pick up for a whole bunch of libraries throughout all of Southeast Michigan. So not just individual homes, but that does make up the majority, as we picked up from thousands and thousands of people over these last 13 years.
We're joined by Todd Whalen. He is the founder of Give My Books, an effort that is hoping to raise 50,000 different books to spread throughout the community for free to different organizations and individuals in Washtenaw County and as well in surrounding counties, also including Livingston, Oakland, Wayne, and Monroe counties. He joins us on the Megacast. More information on givemybooks.com. And so if people are interested in donating books, what's the best way for them to go about getting in contact with you and going through that process of collecting those books and ultimately getting them into circulation so they can be distributed in our communities?
Excellent. So the best way is to use our website, givemybooks.com. You'll find the pickup request form on there. It's a very simple form, just your name, address, the basic information that we need, and then you schedule your own date. Each zip code has a zone, so we pick up on certain days depending on which zip code you're in. And then you just fill out the form, and what you'll get a confirmation email that you're on our schedule, along with instructions that you'll need for the book pickup. Then the day of the pickup, all you do is leave your books or other items out on the front porch or any other safe, dry location that you've told us. And then we'll come by between 8 a.m. in the morning to 8 p.m. at night, and we'll come and pick all those books up. And then you'll even get a reminder email the day before you have a pickup, and we'll confirm that we did a good job afterwards with an email saying, hey, did we get your books? And then that'll complete the transaction. That's how they get back into circulation.
We're joined by Todd Whalen from Give My Books. You can learn more information, givemybooks.com, as Todd is the founder of the organization. You can also learn more information on jlcbooksale.com. We're joined by Todd Whalen, founder of Give My Books. And so we talk about getting involved in the donation. What about in the distribution? If people would like to help Give My Books collect and distribute these books, how can they get involved with volunteer opportunities?
Yeah, so if anyone wants to be involved with that, they can contact us through our website or just a direct email, actually. So I'm Todd, so todd@givemybooks.com is a great way. That's my email address. And if you absolutely need to, you can find our phone number on the website, which you can call or text, and let us know that you are interested in helping, and we'll work that out. We definitely need volunteers, especially for our summer book program that we may speak about.
So 50,000 books, 30,000 last year, 50,000 is the base goal for this year's effort. They're going to a number of different places throughout our communities and helping a whole lot of people. If people are in need, if they're teachers, if there are organizations, if there are individual families that are in need of some books, how can they go about getting those books through this effort as you're giving away thousands of books for free in our communities?
Yep. So there's two different ways at the moment. One is going to givemybooks.com. There is a teacher request form that can be filled out, and that also includes homeschool families or really anybody who wants them. That's just a request form for you to get free books from us. And what happens is, especially if you're a teacher or organization, once we verify all your information and approve you, we send you a coupon code that you can then use for jlcbooksale.com. If you have bulk books, we'll drop them off. But if you are just getting, say, 10, 20, 40 books, you can schedule a time to come pick them out yourself. So that's how people can get those books if they want them.
What's really interesting about this effort, Todd, and what's a really fascinating aspect of the Give My Books effort is that you're collecting all these books and you're storing them and you're running this operation out of your own home. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. It certainly is.
That's wild to think about. They have these thousands of books coming into circulation through this effort that at any given time theoretically would be in your home. How are you able to manage that, having that operation out of your home and then helping so many people, and not only now just in Washtenaw County, but in surrounding counties too?
Yeah, it's a challenge. So what we did is at our home, we built a 864 square foot pole barn. That serves as our warehouse. And then my parents' garage, where JLC Book Sale is, well, I should say at my parents' house, which is 2 courts down from ours, we made their garage into a bookstore. That's where the year-round JLC bookstore is, where people can come pick out those books. But at our own home, the key really is we can process a whole bunch of books because nothing really stays at our place. They're all processed and they are sorted and sent out back into the community, either to other bookstores, to other booksellers, or given away back into the community through what we've been talking about.
We're joined by Todd Whalen, founder of Give My Books. You can learn more information in a couple of places, jlcbooksale.com or by visiting givemybooks.com. And if you'd like to get involved through donations, if you'd like to obtain some of these books for your classroom, for your local organization, for yourself, or someone that you know who may be in need of these books, you can get in contact with Todd. Todd@givemybooks.com is his email, or visit givemybooks.com, and you can get in contact with him that way. So, Todd, another thing on the JLC side, your summer book sale events are coming up. Can you tell us about these events? I understand that they're held in your backyard. When can we expect this to be happening, and what's the fun in all of this?
That's right. Actually, it's tremendous fun. It's a lot of fun. We've set it up so that throughout all of our property, we use our front yard, our driveway, side, and backyard. We put out 15 to 20,000 books, and we categorize them. So, you have your kids' fiction, nonfiction books. So they're easily found and it's enjoyable. So every book is $1. The sales last from Wednesday to Saturday. But Wednesday is a special day because it's a teachers only day where they come and they get the best selection, and they also get 10% off of the already inexpensive books. But then everyone else can come. It's a huge event, and we do them 4 times a year, our summer events, in May, June, July, and August. So when we do those, we have usually 2,000 to 3,000 people that come to each one of those sales at our home in 3 days. So it's a well-organized, very fun event where people can get their books, and it's very enjoyable.
More information on givemybooks.com or jlcbooksale.com to learn more about Give My Books effort, aiming to give away 50,000 free books at the bare minimum this year. JLC Book Sale will be holding its summer book sale events from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. at 2091 Stratton Court in Ann Arbor. The following dates will be Wednesday, May 18th through Saturday, May 21st, Wednesday, June 22nd through Saturday, June 25th, Wednesday, July 20th through Saturday, July 23rd, and Wednesday, August 24th through Saturday, August 27th. In addition to books, Give My Books also collects and sells DVDs, audiobooks, video games, puzzles, and board games. Books are available for $1 each at the summer event. We're joined by Todd Whalen, founder of Give My Books, and also from jlcbooksale.com on the Michigan Megacast. Todd, just another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye. Anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to know about JLC Book Sale, or of course about Give My Books?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest things I want everyone to know right now is a coupon code that we are giving out to everybody. This is to jumpstart our giving away efforts. So there's one per person, the limit on it, but it's 10K free book giveaway. So it's 10K, 10K free book giveaway. That is the coupon code that the first 1,000 people that use that coupon code on jlcbooksale.com, the books, it's basically a $12 coupon because 10 books cost $12. But you get your 10 books free, and we're doing that for the first 1,000 people, and that jumpstarts us with 10,000 books being given away just as soon as we have 1,000 people who are interested.
That code, 10K free book giveaway, 10K free book giveaway, givemybooks.com or jlcbooksale.com. Todd, thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you.
Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation.
Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you did. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is a source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now is Melissa Antoncic, the Director of Services at the Blood Center Foundation of Michigan, one of nearly 300 shared Detroit-supported charities and nonprofits. Melissa, thank you for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first, can you tell us about the foundation and its history?
So the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan is actually celebrating our 70th anniversary this year. We were founded in 1952, actually by a group of parents who had lost a child to leukemia. At that point, our organization was named Children's Leukemia Foundation of Michigan, but only 2 years after that, actually started supporting adults. So right now, we're currently supporting nearly 3,000 patients across the state of Michigan. We have patients in 80 out of 83 counties, and we do support children and adults with all different types of blood cancers and potentially malignant blood disorders. So more of the common types of cancers you may be familiar with, the leukemias and the lymphomas and myelomas, but also things like aplastic anemia and myelodysplastic syndrome.
And so what are some of the ways that the organization then helps these patients, either with blood cancers or with another blood disorder in order to help them, with their treatment or with other factors in life that are impacted by their cancer or their disorders?
Absolutely. We know that whether it's an adult or a child in the family that's diagnosed, the entire family is affected by it. Our goal is to provide comprehensive support to the entire family, and we do that in several different ways. So first off, obviously, is the emotional support that we provide. We do this primarily through phone support because we do have patients across the entire state. We're able to set up a really personalized and customized care plan for that patient. So if they're really struggling and they need support, once or twice a week, we can offer that to them. If they're doing okay, they need a call just every couple months or even just once or twice a year, just so that they know we're still available and we're still thinking about them. That's absolutely something that we can do. In addition to the emotional support, we provide disease education and resources. So often when somebody's newly diagnosed or a child is diagnosed, the parents are really struggling to find information. They can reach out to us and we'll be that one-stop shop to get them that information they're looking for, so they don't have to call 5 or 6 organizations to try and find out, what do I have to worry about with side effects, and what about with treatment expenses and, long-term effects. We can gather all that information and get it right over to them. One of the biggest programs, the reasons people sign on to our service is for our financial assistance program. So we're able to offer up to $1,000 a year in travel and prescription reimbursement for the treatment of the blood cancer or blood disorder. And we're also able to offer what we call our special needs grant, which is up to $750 to cover those unexpected but necessary expenses that come along with a blood cancer diagnosis. So we know often patients may fall behind on their rent or their mortgage, or they get a utility shutoff notice, or their car breaks down and they can't get to treatment. That's certainly something that we're able to help them with. And if our financial support is not enough, or it's something they have a need for that we don't cover, we also have connections with a tremendous amount of other community resources, so we can get them set up with financial assistance through other places as well. And lastly, we do have a social support program, which is the most fun out of everything that we do. It's an opportunity for patients and families to connect with others in the community who are going through something similar, to know that they're not alone, they're not the only ones who are going through what they're going through, and also to alleviate the expense. We know that when there is a blood cancer diagnosis, one of the first things to go are those recreation activities. They're not going to baseball games anymore. They're not going to parks. They're not going out and having dinner or movies. And so we're able to provide that experience for them and not have to worry about how they're going to pay for it.
More information on their website, bloodcancerfoundationmi.org. That's bloodcancerfoundationmi.org. Or you can visit sharedetroit.org and navigate through the Share Detroit platform to learn more information about the organization, as well as help them out in many different ways, whether it be volunteerism, donations, or items that may be of need to the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan, who joins with us on the Michigan Megacast. So how do people tap into these services? You mentioned that there is an opportunity to sign up for these services and some of the services that are provided. How do people ultimately get in contact with the organization to start that process?
Our goal is to make it as easy as possible to get connected with our services. So basically, any way they can connect with us, we'll get them registered. One of the biggest ways that people do sign up for our services is through their social workers at their hospital. So if they're connected with a social worker or a financial navigator or even a doctor or nurse, they can work on their behalf to get them registered. One of the easiest ways is also through our website. So there's actually a patient online form that they can just fill out directly there, and we'll contact them within 48 hours. They can give us a call and we'll get them set up with resources. They can email us. They can basically any way that they can get connected to somebody in our organization, we will connect them with our patient support department and get them set up with resources.
A couple of different phone numbers also that you can call. Their location in southeastern Michigan in Farmington Hills, 248-530-3000. Their location in Grand Rapids, 616-885-1830, and then their toll-free number, 800-825-2536, 800-825-2536, or visit bloodcancerfoundationmi.org. That's bloodcancerfoundationmi.org. Melissa, there's also a number of different events throughout the year that help to raise funds for this organization, similar to other charities and nonprofits in Michigan and around the world. You have one that is upcoming soon that will be the Scavenger Safari Walk. Tell us about that event and how people can participate.
Yeah, this is such a fun event. I encourage everybody to come check it out. This is an opportunity for patients to, or for community members to form teams. They can come out to the Detroit Zoo. That's coming up on June 4th. And we have an app-based scavenger hunt that we do throughout the Detroit Zoo, so teams can race around the zoo, answering clues, getting prizes along the way, and just completing some really fun activities to get involved with that. And it's so much fun. We have such a great time doing that. And if participants want to come out, but they don't necessarily want to take part in the scavenger hunt, we do have a walk aspect as well. So they can come out, whether they want to come on their own or form a team, they can just take a leisurely walk throughout the zoo. With the registration cost, that does include free parking, that includes lunch vouchers, and then they get to spend the day at the zoo when the event is over as well.
And then how can people sign up for that event, either themselves or on behalf of loved ones?
Yeah, so the best way to do that is through our website, which is bloodcancerfoundationmi.org.
And then how else can people support the foundation, either financially, through volunteerism, other different opportunities that are available? And what are some of the most pressing needs at this moment for the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan?
We have so many opportunities for people to get involved. So we do have volunteer opportunities. We are actually starting to do some in-person events again. We know COVID kind of put a hold on that for the safety of our patients. We stopped doing in-person events, but we're starting to get those up and running again. So if people want to come out and volunteer and help out with that, that's a great resource that we're always looking for assistance with. They can obviously make donations. The best way to do that is the contact information we discussed. We can answer the phones at 248-530-3000, or they can do it directly through our website. If they're affiliated with companies or businesses that want to sponsor any of our upcoming events, that's great for us as well. We can get them some recognition that, they're helping out a wonderful organization, and obviously then their funding is making a difference with patients in the community. And then in the winter, actually, which seems like it's a long time from now, but we know that it'll be here before we know it, we do a holiday toys program. And with this program, we provide toys and gift cards to pediatric patients, their siblings, as well as children of adult patients. So if people are interested in helping out with that, we actually do a wish list program. So if somebody's interested in helping out a child, we would send them the wish list of that specific child, and they could buy the exact toys that child's looking for that year. So each year we provide toys and gift cards to more than 700 kids across the state. There's a huge need for that.
More information online, bloodcancerfoundationmi.org. That's bloodcancerfoundationmi.org, or call their number 800-825-2536, 800-825-2536. If there are those out there that would like to help, would like to get involved, or like to or would be in need of the services of your organization, but aren't able to either access your website online or call your organization, are there physical locations in Michigan where they can visit your organization?
So our office is located in Farmington Hills. We're right at the corner of 12 Mile and Middle Belt. But we do also have staff working across the state. So we do have a Grand Rapids staff member, which you had mentioned that address, and are very excited that we've just got a new staff member up and running in the Mount Pleasant area as well. So really trying to get our staff located in the vicinities across the state where our patients are.
Melissa, before we let you go, anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to know about your organization, or some of the services or events that are coming up that we haven't discussed today?
And so I think one of the important things for people to know is that we don't have any income or age restrictions for our services. So in order to be eligible, you only have to be a resident of the state of Michigan and have been diagnosed with a blood cancer or potentially malignant blood disorder. We also don't discharge people from our services. We're aware that a lot of blood cancers are chronic conditions. They're something that people routinely may not stay in remission for very long. They may have frequent relapses, or they may never go into remission. And we don't want people to have to jump through hoops to get resources and get services for their diagnosis. So once they're signed onto our service, they're eligible for as long as they need us. As soon as they tell us they don't need us anymore, obviously we're not going to bother them. And if 5-10 years from now, they call us back up and they say, I just relapsed, or I'm really looking for resources, I need some help with my diagnosis, we're available for them. So we don't have any restrictions for how we get them set up with those services. And some additional programs that we're offering in addition to the scavenger safari, we do have a golf outing that's coming up. That's a Gray's Reef golf outing, and that's happening August 29th at the Oakland University Golf Course. We are also, in celebration of our 70th anniversary, we're doing a gala event. That's October 6th, and that's at the Garden Theater in Detroit. And we have a really fun event coming up in November. It's our movie marathon, and this is at the Imagine Theater in Novi. This is a 12-hour movie marathon, so participants are able to come spend the entire day at the Imagine Theater. That's November 4th, and they can watch as many movies as possible for 12 hours. They get unlimited pop and popcorn, they get lunch, they get dinner, and they get a goodie bag full of treats to keep them going throughout the day. So it's a really great opportunity as well.
All the information you need to know on these events at the website of the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan, bloodcancerfoundationmi.org. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That is going to do it for today's edition of the Michigan Megacast and this week's editions of both the Oakland County and Michigan Megacast. More information on our website at civiccentertv.com/Megacast. You'll learn more about all of our partnering community television and radio stations, as well as our online outlets such as My Michigan TV. civiccentertv.com/Megacast, where you can also find all of today's interviews as well as today's full episode and all of our episodes of the Michigan Megacast and the Oakland County Megacast on our website, civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Highly encourage you to also go to our coronavirus page, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, to keep up to date on everything you need to know about COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division, as well as articles making headlines across the state of Michigan each and every day before our live programs, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. until 12 noon. Big thank you to our crew who makes this show possible every single day. Calvin Brown, our technical director, with me in the studio for the full 2 hours of this program. Jared Clark, our Zoom producer out of the office of My Michigan TV, helping our guests with any technical issues they may encounter and helping them get on the program. And the king of television himself, Larry Nyland, our producer, booking all the guests and helping them and us get prepared for each and every Megacast. On My Michigan TV, Steve Leto Live is next, followed by Larry and Maddie Live. We will return Monday at 10 a.m.